In 2019, a headline broke that seemed like it was from a satirical news site. The President of the United States, Donald Trump, confirmed he was seriously interested in the United States purchasing Greenland, a sovereign part of the Kingdom of Denmark. The world laughed. Denmark called the idea absurd. Greenlanders were, in their own words, unnerved. But what if this wasn't a joke? What if it was the blunt, unvarnished expression of a new and terrifying global reality? Welcome to the new great game, an era where melting ice caps in the Arctic and fragile peace deals in South America are now front lines in a silent war between superpowers. An era where a leader in Iran can dismiss thousands of protesters as mere tools of Washington. Today, we're connecting these dots. We're going from the frigid waters of the Greenland Sea to the mountains of Colombia to understand a single driving force, the return of great power competition, and what it means for every nation caught in the middle. This isn't just about land. It's about who owns the future. Let's start with Greenland. Trump's desire to own it was shocking, but the strategic logic behind it is centuries old. In 1946, Harry Truman actually offered Denmark $100 million for the island. It's always been about location. But now, climate change has rewritten the value proposition. The ice Greenland's geology holds some of the largest deposits of rare earth minerals outside of China elements, critical for everything from your smartphone to F-35 fighter jets. There's oil, there's gas, is melting, and what's being revealed is a treasure chest and a battlefield. The fabled Northwest Passage is becoming a seasonal reality. Whoever controls the choke points controls the future of global trade between Europe and Asia. Thule Air Base in northern Greenland is America's northernmost military installation, essential for ballistic missile early warning and space tracking. It is the eyeball pointed directly at the polar approach. For the U.S., losing dominance here is not an option. Russia has been treating the Arctic like its private military playground. It's reopening Soviet-era bases, building new ones, and has by far the world's largest fleet of icebreakers, including nuclear-powered ones. The Arctic is central to Russia's nuclear second strike capability and its power projection. Then there's China, over 2,000 miles away, declaring itself a near-Arctic state. This is a legal and diplomatic stretch, but it's backed by action and cash. The Polar Silk Road is part of its Belt and Road Initiative. Chinese state-owned companies have actively sought to buy abandoned naval ports and invest in mining projects in Greenland. For Beijing, the Arctic is a new source of resources and a strategic lever to exert influence. So when Trump says we need to own Greenland to prevent Russia and China from taking it, he's articulating a raw, zero-sum view that has taken hold in Washington. Every gain for them is a loss for us. But there's a critical voice in this that often gets drowned out: the Greenlanders themselves. Greenland has a population of just 56,000, primarily indigenous Inuit. They have self-rule, but foreign and defense policy is still handled by Copenhagen. There is a strong movement for full independence from Denmark. The dilemma is brutal. The mineral wealth that could bankroll that independence is the very reason the global giants are circling. Many Greenlanders see these mining projects, especially with Chinese involvement, as a new form of colonialism. They are fiercely protective of their sovereignty and their fragile environment. As one Greenlandic politician put it, we are not a piece of real estate to be sold. We are a people with our own culture, our own identity. They are not passive pawns. They are players on this ice-cold chessboard, trying to navigate between the giants without being crushed. Now, let's fly thousands of miles south to a very different landscape, but a surprisingly similar story. For decades, Colombia has been America's closest military ally in South America, a key partner in the war on drugs, hailed as a success story of U.S. security policy, but recently, that relationship has shown severe strain. America's stance has shifted from partnership to intense pressure. Why? First, the 2016 peace accord with the FARC. While celebrated globally as a historic end to a 50-year conflict, hardliners in Washington, including Trump officials, saw it as too lenient on former guerrillas. This created an initial rift, the perennial issue of coca and cocaine. Despite billions in U.S. aid through Plan Colombia, cultivation levels have remained high. The Trump administration repeatedly threatened to decertify Colombia as a partner in the drug war, a move that would bring devastating sanctions. the U.S., demand has often been for a return to aggressive, forced eradication, which many Colombian communities and the government see as socially destructive and ineffective. Third, and most crucially, Venezuela. Colombia shares a long, porous border with the crisis-stricken nation, the U.S., has demanded Colombia be the regional anchor of its maximum pressure campaign against the Maduro regime, offering unwavering support for opposition leader Juan Guaidó. Colombia has largely complied, bearing the brunt of a massive refugee crisis, but any hint of Colombian diplomacy or deviation from the hardline script causes immediate anxiety in Washington. Finally, the overarching shadow, China. Just as in the Arctic, China's economic footprint in Colombia is growing. From bidding on the Bogotá metro to Huawei's involvement in 5G networks, Beijing is using checkbook diplomacy in America's traditional backyard. To U.S. strategists, Colombia is not just a drug or Venezuela policy issue, it's a front in the competition with China. So America's stance can be summarized as, you are our ally. That means aligning with us completely on our priorities, our methods for the drug war, our regime change policy in Venezuela, and actively resisting Chinese influence. Your domestic concerns about peace, development, or sovereignty are secondary to this larger strategic game. It's a classic case of a global power viewing a regional partner through the lens of its rivalry with other global powers. Faced with this pressure, how has Colombia responded? Its defense policies are a masterclass in walking a geopolitical tightrope. The foundation is unshakably American. The Colombian military runs on U.S. hardware, uses U.S. design doctrine, and relies on U.S. intelligence cooperation. Plan Colombia built this architecture. But the modern priorities are evolving. A major focus of the military is now protecting the territories vacated by the FARC, preventing new armed groups from filling the void, and supporting reintegration. This nuanced, population-centric approach can clash with the U.S. desire for simple, forceful eradication metrics. There is a growing, quiet resistance within Colombian political circles to being used as a launchpad for U.S. adventures in Venezuela. The refugee crisis is a Colombian national problem, not just a lever in U.S. foreign policy. Like many nations, Colombia is pursuing multi-vector policy. While maintaining the core security alliance with the U.S., it is actively deepening economic ties with China. The calculation is pragmatic. China builds infrastructure and buys coffee and oil, while the U.S. provides security. Colombia wants both, believing it can separate economics from security. This is the tightrope, maintaining the indispensable U.S. security umbrella while engaging with the U.S. its primary global competitor for economic development, all while managing a fragile internal peace process. It's an incredibly difficult balance to strike, and U.S. pressure constantly threatens to knock Colombia off. So, what are the global results when this logic of ownership and zero-sum competition is applied from the Arctic to the Andes? Let's zoom out and look at the world map. Trump's Greenland comment wasn't an isolated thought. It's policy. We see massive NATO exercises like Trident Juncture in Norway. The U.S. is reopening the Second Fleet to patrol the North Atlantic. Denmark is investing billions in Arctic defense. The result? An escalating action-reaction cycle with Russia. The Arctic, once a zone of cooperative research, is becoming a NATO-Russia standoff with catastrophic environmental risks. The post-World War II idea of common rules is eroded, replaced by Trumpian transactionalism, owning things, and a might-makes-right approach from Russia and China. For small and medium-sized countries, the message is clear: you are on your own, or you are a prize to be won. This empowers aggressors and terrifies everyone else. This is key. The U.S. uses its security leverage over Colombia to pressure it on economic ties with China. China uses its economic leverage in Greenland to seek strategic advantage. Trade, investment, and infrastructure are no longer just about development. They are tools of geopolitical warfare. Every port, every 5G contract, every mine is a battleground. In Latin America, U.S. pressure that undermines Colombia's peace accord could reignite conflict, sending shockwaves through the region. A forced confrontation with Venezuela could destabilize borders further. In the Arctic, a spill or military accident in those pristine waters would be a global ecological disaster. Remember that third headline about Iran's leader? This is perhaps the most insidious global result. When the world is framed as a simple battle between great powers, it gives a gift to dictators everywhere. Ayatollah Khamenei can look at protesters demanding basic rights and dismiss them all as Vandans trying to please Trump. It reduces complex domestic grievances to a foreign plot. This narrative, your dissent is not legitimate, you are just a pawn of our enemy, is now used by regimes in Beijing, Moscow, Caracas, and beyond to crush opposition. In the new great game, human rights and democracy are often the first casualties. So, where does this leave us? From the silent, expanding military bases on the Arctic ice to the tense conversations between diplomats in Bogota, a new map is being drawn. Not with ink, but with pressure, threats, investment, and guns. The central drama of the 21st century may not be a hot war between superpowers. It may be this cold, relentless competition that forces every nation on Earth to choose a side, often against its own best interests. It is the story of sovereignty under siege. But here is the final, crucial point. The outcome of this new great game will not be decided solely in the Situation Room in Washington, the Kremlin, or Zhongnanhai. It will be decided in the halls of the Inatsisartut, the Greenlandic parliament, as they debate a mining license. It will be decided in the presidential palace in Bogota as they weigh a Chinese infrastructure offer against a call from the U.S. State Department? The pawns have agency, and their collective choices whether to resist, to balance, or to band together will ultimately write the next chapter of global history. What do you think? Which country is next to find itself in the crosshairs of this competition? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this deep dive valuable, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. This isn't the last time we'll be talking about this. Thanks for watching.